It was just a Tuesday afternoon. Rachel had just come home from picking up her 6-year-old son, Niko, from school. The house was quiet, warm, and clean. Sunlight filtered in through the living room blinds, falling across the new floors she and her husband had proudly installed just 3 months ago, luxury vinyl planks in a rich gray tone. Durable. Modern. Easy to clean. She'd put a load of laundry in, then heard the cry. It wasn't a whine. It wasn't a pout. It was the kind of sharp, sudden sound that makes a mother's chest go cold. She rushed into the living room. Niko was standing in the center of the floor, his little legs stiff and shaking. He wasn't moving. "Mommy, the floor's hot," he said. His voice cracked. "It hurts." Rachel blinked. "Hot?" She hurried over and crouched down, scooping him into her arms. His bare feet brushed against her legs, they were pink, nearly red at the heel. She pressed her hand against the vinyl. Warm. Not burning. Not dangerous. Not what you'd expect to cause pain. She examined his feet. No cuts. No bruises. Just flushed skin. Was it the heat from the sun through the window? Was he imagining it? She dabbed his soles with a cool washcloth, then applied aloe just in case. He calmed. She chalked it up to overexcitement, too much running, maybe even sensitivity. But then something odd happened. The next day, Niko refused to walk into the living room. He tiptoed to the doorway, looked inside, then turned around and went back to his room without a word. Rachel asked what was wrong. "It still feels hot," he said. "I don't like that floor." She smiled, tried to joke. "Is it lava?" But Niko didn't laugh. He looked serious. Frightened, even. 2 days later, the family cat began avoiding the living room too. He'd peek in, sniff the air, then scurry away, tail twitching. That had never happened before. Rachel laughed it off at first. "Maybe the place is haunted," she said on a call with her sister. But inside, something was starting to itch, not on her skin, but in her thoughts. A quiet question forming. What if it wasn't imagination? What if something really was wrong? By the end of the week, Rachel had written it off. Maybe the floors held heat longer than she realized. Maybe Niko's feet were just extra sensitive. Maybe she was overthinking it. Then came the stinging eyes. It happened one morning after she mopped the living room. No bleach, no cleaner, just plain warm water. Still, her eyes began to burn, like she'd been peeling onions. She blamed the weather. Allergies. Stress. But the next day, it happened again. And again. Only in the living room. Then the cat stopped eating. And Niko? He started coughing at night. Soft, dry little coughs, persistent and strange. Rachel took him to the pediatrician. No fever. No infection. He prescribed rest, fluids. Probably a cold, he said. But Rachel wasn't convinced. Because she, too, had begun coughing. Her head throbbed behind her eyes. She woke up every morning feeling like she'd barely slept. Even her skin felt itchy sometimes, but only when she sat on the living room couch. That was the room she used to love. Now it felt like a place that watched her. She checked the air filters again. She washed the curtains. She even moved the couch and scrubbed under it. Still, nothing changed. One night, while refilling Niko's humidifier, she caught herself staring at the floor. At the shine. At the perfect seams. At how new it all was. And it hit her. The floors were the only thing that had changed. She looked up vinyl plank flooring health effects on her phone. Most articles said they were safe or low-VOC compliant. But one link, buried at the bottom of a forum, caught her eye. Formaldehyde off-gassing in synthetic floors, slow exposure, long-term effects. She clicked. That's when the questions started unraveling. And if this part of the story is making you pause, wondering about your own home or your child's cough or why your pet avoids certain rooms, take a moment right now to like this video, subscribe to Health Chronicles. Rachel didn't wait. The next morning, while Niko was at school, she pulled on gloves and grabbed a pair of Ziploc bags. She used kitchen scissors to cut a tiny square from the corner of one of the vinyl planks beneath the TV console, somewhere no one would notice. She didn't know where to take it, so she called the county health department. They were polite, but unhelpful. Next, she tried a local environmental testing service, one she found online. They referred her to a private lab that specialized in indoor air quality and surface toxin screening. It would cost her a little over $100, but she didn't hesitate. She dropped off the sample in person. A week later, she got the call. "Ma'am," the lab tech said, "are you still living in that space?" Rachel blinked. "Yes, why?" There was a pause. Then, "We detected elevated emissions of formaldehyde and phthalates from the sample you submitted. Above recommended safety thresholds, especially dangerous for children and pets." Her stomach dropped. Formaldehyde? Wasn't that what they used to preserve dead things? And phthalates, those were in plastics and fragrances, right? Yes. And both were known to leach from certain types of synthetic flooring, especially in poorly ventilated rooms or homes with high humidity. But Rachel had checked the box. The flooring was labeled safe. The lab explained, the labels didn't always account for how the materials were stored, processed, or manufactured. That shiny gray vinyl they'd bought on sale? It had likely come from an overseas batch that used urea formaldehyde adhesives, cheap and toxic when not fully cured. Worse, the installer had sealed the house up tight, trapping those emissions. She thought of Niko's red feet. The stinging in her eyes. The late-night coughing. The cat hiding for hours. The pieces were falling into place, and the picture they formed was terrifying. Rachel reached out to her contractor. He was shocked. He'd used the same brand in multiple homes. No one had raised alarms. Until now. She contacted other homeowners through online forums, asking if anyone else had noticed headaches, fatigue, or strange symptoms after installing similar floors. People started replying. One woman said her baby developed a rash that wouldn't go away until they left the house for a weekend. Another described a low-grade fever her husband had for months, gone after they tore out the new flooring. Rachel realized this wasn't about just her family anymore. She printed the lab report, filed a formal complaint with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and contacted a local news outlet. A week later, her story was on the evening news. Toxic floors? Local mom sounds alarm after son's mysterious symptoms. Rachel couldn't undo what had happened. But she could choose what happened next. She joined a local parent group advocating for safer building materials. With guidance, she had the floors removed, painstakingly, carefully. She replaced them with sealed bamboo. Natural. Tested. No mystery chemicals. The first night with the new floors, Niko fell asleep without a single cough. Rachel sat beside him, hand on his back, finally breathing easy herself. What began with a burning sensation on a child's feet became a discovery that rippled across homes, forums, and families nationwide. Not because Rachel had all the answers, but because she asked the right questions. And that, sometimes, is where safety truly begins. If this story made you pause, please like, share, and subscribe to Health Chronicles. Your support helps us keep uncovering the hidden dangers we walk past every day. Have you experienced something similar in your home? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let us know where you're watching from. Together, we can turn awareness into protection.